Evening, everybody. I'm Pete. I'm the chair of the Supporters Club, and welcome to tonight's live stream. As usual, we'll have Vic Morgan on, and Vic will be asking questions with our chairman, our prospective vice chairman, Zav, and our CEO, Rob. So let's get going. I'll bring Vic on. Evening, Vic.
Good evening to you, Pete. I trust you're well on this very sunny evening.
Yeah, it's very warm, isn't it? Very warm, but
lovely.
Yep. No complaints. Okay, Vic. So we've got Clem, Rob, and Zav. So I'll bring these guys on now. Evening, Clem. Evening, Rob.
Oh, you're right.
All right, thank you. It's lovely to see the top of Clem's head. Actually, it's a very nice picture at the top. But there we go.
Try to stand up a bit.
I'll try and raise this a bit. It's not working well.
It's probably better if you just see my board head.
Okay. And evening, Zav, as well.
Hi there, how are you?
Good, thank you. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Okay, so I'm going to disappear. As usual, if anybody's got questions, just put them into the Facebook live page and we'll feed them up to Vic. So Vic, over to you.
Pete, thank you very much indeed. And I should say at the outset, there are no areas in which we can't go tonight. We cleared this up beforehand. And in the interest of transparency, which is the club's new way forward, everybody's agreed to answer every question that's asked. So I'm grateful to you all. Clem, obviously, you've been on the sofa with us before, so welcome once again. And Rob as well, of course, too. And Zav, your first time, so welcome along to the Supporters Club on the sofa.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. I will get to questions about you, Zav, in a little while, but I think first and foremost we should address the matter of Saturday. Now, for the most part, of course, it was a game at Stevenage. Swindon played very well. And in the normal run of things, a last-minute penalty would have been a cause of great celebration, as it was. But unfortunately, some events sort of overshadowed it. Clem and Rob, first and foremost, what were your views of Saturday? Clem, if I might ask you that, first of all.
I think the game started well, but I believe then right at the end there was some incidents from the supporters that shouldn't have done. They had flares, they had seats that were thrown out on the pitch, they were throwing signs, which was very disturbing. It should never have happened, which is probably not making it out to be what Swindon supporters that really are, which are usually 95% really good.
Rob, the club put out a statement on Saturday night. Many thought it fell short of condemning. Would you condemn the actions of those few people on Saturday?
Yeah, look, I would. You know, I understand there was a spark from a student perspective, but look, it still doesn't condone that behaviour. You know, you can't you can't take that damage to other people's property. You can't throw things on the pitch. People could have got hurt and got injured. So I condemn that behaviour. It's not right. The club is going to face a bill for that damage, from Stevenage, and rightly so. We'll probably get a fine from the EFL for the pyrotechnics and the flares going on the pitch. Just several times it happened. It cost the club money. So we need to, the support has been amazing, both home and away, and it's fantastic. But we need to make sure that behaviour is appropriate. And someone could have got really hurt, both Swindon fans as well as the stewards and people, at Stevenage. Plus, we may not have got the goal back because the flare being on the pitch. Arguably the referee should have stopped the game, and that would have stopped our momentum and meant that we'd have probably lost that game. And equally, if he hadn't stopped the game, it went down the other end. Not sure, however great a goalkeeper Jojo Walcott is, whether he'd be able to save a shot, when he can't see anything for a flare, is another question. So I think I understand people get excited. I've been in hundreds of away games myself after a few beers and stuff like that. But you've got to behave appropriately and respect people's property and not rip up seats and advertise audiences. It's not acceptable.
Clem, would you go as far to say that you might ban people who were found to have done this? Is that a possibility?
We're going to give them a warning first, this is their first warning and their last warning, and we probably will ban people if we if it happens again, we will ban them, definitely, because we can't keep doing this, because it just gives us a bad reputation. It gives the club a bad reputation. So we need to make sure that we've got rules in place. So we've given them a warning as last week, but if it happens again, we will be banning people, definitely.
And there was also, sorry, go on, Rob.
Worth adding, Vic, that the EFL have asked Stevenage Police or the area police to investigate, look at the images and the footage, and take appropriate action. So people just need to remember that whilst police may not be in the ground sometimes some of these games, they are asked to follow up and review the CCTV footage, and they spot behaviour which is breaking criminal laws, etc. They will take action. So don't ever think if the police not being there doesn't mean to say that there couldn't be action taken, because they will be acting at the request of the EFL to review the camera footage and press charges as appropriate.
And the thing is, Clem, everything seems to have gone really, really, really well in the first 6 weeks of your tenureship. And, the last thing you want is the image of Swindon Town Football Club to be besmirched by incidents like this. How disappointed are you? Because at the end of the day, you've got to cough up, haven't you? Every time the EFL or the Football Association finds a football club, you've got to do it.
Yeah, it's very disappointing, and it costs the club money. It takes money out of the coffers of the club, which in turn is taking money out of your club, money out of the club. So, and we can't invest money elsewhere. We're just investing money in fines, which is ridiculous, and paying damages for Stevenage's stuff, which we shouldn't be doing. So the guys need to respect away supporters, clubs. The clubs out there need to be supported. So we can't do that.
Rob, also, you'll be aware of the stewarding incidents. Many people have pointed and highlighted that. Presumably, you've been in touch with Stevenage regarding the way that they steward football matches too.
Yeah, I mean, we've been in dialogue with the Stevenage CEO, and will be this week, and we will feed back the issues on stewarding. I think both leading up to that, and I know there was other complaints in terms of one of our supporters not being granted entry, due to Parkinson's, which is very sad to hear. But Stevenage already on that complaint have asked us for some information to help them deal with it, which is good. We'll continue the dialogue with them to, make sure that going forward, both we see improvements both from both clubs' perspectives, and obviously we need to work through and understand the damages caused by the fans and put that right as well, which, as Clem said, is going to hit us in the pocket.
Well, the Supporters Club and the Trust have put out a statement today asking for crowdfunding, possibly, to pay for the damage. What's your thought on that?
I think it's a great idea, but at the end of the day, we should use that fundraising for other things and not paying fines and damages of other stadiums. We should be putting that money into our stadium, the county ground, and other things for the club. So people need to respect, like I said before, people need to respect when we're going away and respect the other teams. Like I know everyone gets excited. We brought 1,000 people up to Stevenage, but people need to respect that. And it wasn't pleasant for us at the end either. I had to apologise to the directors of Stevenage, and I apologised and told them that we were going to pay for all the damage, which it wasn't pleasant. And we had a few other of the Stevenage fans having a go at us, saying, "Oh, it's a disgrace. You should be ashamed of yourself," which I wasn't ashamed of our supporters, because I know the passion that they've got. But I was ashamed that just a small minority was throwing flares and throwing seats on the pitch, which was disappointing.
Yeah,
well,
I think that I think the statement from the Supporters Club and the Supporters Trust is something I think we support. I think it's a very positive statement. I think it's important that the Stevenage fans and club understand that the far majority of supporters condemn the actions of the minority, and as Clem says, we shouldn't be needing to fundraise for stuff like that, but I think it shows responsibility and accountability on behalf of our supporters groups in terms of trying to make it clear that the actions don't represent the far majority of our fan base.
Okay, let me just read a bit of an email that we've had from Craig, who sent this in. I am not condoning the vandalism nor use of pyros on Saturday, but the stewards undoubtedly lost control of a situation which directly led to the incidents in the 88th minute. They displayed a lack of professionalism, any basic understanding of crowd behaviour, made obscene gestures and acted disproportionately throughout. I'm sure the panel will want to condemn the vandalism as per Saturday night's official statement, but will they be making representation to Stevenage about the experiences of supporters who are endangered by their actions? And a second question, if I may, can the club ask if Stevenage will be passing on footage of the incidents? There was a CCTV camera trained on the stands and local police to help identify who threw seats, bins and pyros. That's from Craig. I think you've answered that already, Rob, haven't you? You pretty much indicated that all that is going to happen. So Craig, once again, thank you very much indeed for that. Zav, hello to you. What was your reaction to the incidents on Saturday? Were you there first and foremost?
Yeah, I was there. Yeah. Look, it's we've been on, as I said to you earlier, we're on the crest of a wave. The feel good factor is just unbelievable, and to kind of for that to happen just soured everything. I don't think there's any excuse really. It doesn't, two wrongs don't make a right, do they? And even if whatever the stewards did, I think for people to rip chairs up and to rip advertising boards off, and I mean the stupid part of the advertising board thing was that the only people that they were going to endanger was their own fans. By ripping them off the back wall and then throwing them down. I mean, because you don't know where you're throwing. We don't know where they're going to land. It's not like you're throwing a ball or a full bottle or something. But look, I think you got to take everything in perspective. You got to be rational about everything. And I don't know how many fans it was. I know we took about 1,000, which is unbelievable for League Two and for the distance it was as well. And I would say that the absolute handful of fans that probably had too much to drink. I don't think we got a hardcore element of nutters. We're not, for the want of naming a club. But I live in South London, and there's a club pretty famous for having notorious fans not too far from me. We're nowhere near anything like that. For the record, probably going to get told off after this for saying this. But I can see Clem's face now, Rob smile. But for the record, the way Clem in particular was dealt with after the game was shocking. Absolutely shocking. And talk about stewarding. There should be stewarding in the director's box to protect Clem from stuff like he had to put up with. Because it wasn't Clem that was ripping seats up or ripping advertising boards down. And I want to make it clear. I think it was really, really disappointing and sad what happened. But hopefully, the way Clem and Rob are going to deal with it, regarding one chance and that's it, and then you won't ever be allowed back in. We'll do the job, and we can all move on and talk about stuff on the pitch as opposed to in the stands.
Yeah, I don't want to spend too much longer on this because I think those of us who were there were pretty disgusted. And I think I said to you before, Zad, didn't I, that it's the first time since I watched the town since the mid-'60s, it's the first time I walked away from an away game thinking, do I want to go to another away game? Yeah. And for me to think that, I can tell you it was pretty horrendous. This is from STFC Boo. And just a final point on this. Please, can you confirm or deny that the players' mass gathering on the pitch will get us another fine for the second away game running? I mean, you'll be aware that right at the end, there was a little altercation. Will that go into the FL's little pot of things?
Yes, it will, Vic. So, I mean, I know our club secretary is assessing, reviewing stuff, but obviously we've just had charges from Salford, albeit I think we believe we were partially dealt with, but that was the output of the independent panel's review. So we are potentially concerned, and we're assessing whether we will or not, but quite possibly.
Okay, fine. Right. Thank you very much, Dee, for answering all that. I've got another couple of emails which I'll read later on about it, but I just wanted to move on a little bit. Now then, Zav, if you don't mind, because we talked before about this, and you were happy for me to ask any question regarding yourself.
Bring it on, baby.
Okay, where are we then in terms of you becoming vice chairman of the football club? Is that still going through the fit and proper persons test? What's happening with that?
Correct. Yeah. We're just filling out all the forms and seeing where it takes us. And as you mentioned earlier, there is a very old conviction, which will make things a little more difficult. But from where I'm sitting, I'd like to think that our situation, or mine in particular, is unique, because without patting myself on the back, I think things might be very different if I hadn't done what I'd done. Well, it's not think they would be different; they would be very different. As I also said earlier, there's a court case pending. So there are certain things. I'm not sitting on the fence or ducking any questions, but there are certain things that we can't talk about. I know it's warts and all, and bring everything up that you want about me. That's not a problem. But I think there's a lot still to come out, and I would absolutely love to sit here and tell you everything, but unfortunately, if I did, I would be ruining everything for a few people, and especially the club going forward. The main thing is that we've got a brilliant owner who works tirelessly, and has been working tirelessly. I mean, Clem is, for a guy who's super duper rich, he loves nothing more than going and sitting he doesn't want anything. He doesn't want all the nice stuff. Sitting in the director's boxes, sipping champagne. He doesn't drink, as you probably know. He can't pour a pint either, from what I'm told. But I can't emphasize enough what great hands. I'm not trying to deflect the question, by the way. I know you're going to come back.
Don't worry.
Yeah. It's my situation was that something happened, as I say, 18 years ago. I can't do a lot about it. No one's fault but mine. For the record, it was classified as a paper crime. Nobody got hurt. There was no violence involved. And, you move on in life. And an awful lot has happened in the last 18 years. I run a fairly successful business now, which employs about 80 people. Thankfully, I met Clem through a guy that worked for him. And here we are today, which we're the club that you love, and we've all grown to love. Well, Clem and myself, I know Rob's loved it probably since he was born. We're as passionate about it as you are. I mean, I've been going to, as you mentioned off air, I got introduced to the club by Lee Power, which I'm sure you're going to come on to as well. And it's something that obviously this is a great platform for me to clarify things on. There are always going to be those haters out there who want to see the worst in people. I can't help how people think or how people perceive me. All I know is that my conscience is clear. I've only got good intentions for the club. And as I said to you earlier, if nothing else, I found the Messiah.
Oh,
Right. Okay. Let's get to 2003 then. That's when the incident happened. It went through the courts in 2005.
Yeah.
You were found guilty and punished.
I wasn't found. I pleaded.
You pleaded guilty and you were punished.
Yeah.
What happened to you after that? How did you come through that?
Difficult. You've one option. You either get through it or you die. You know, it was something that you've got to get your head around quickly. In life, when you do something wrong, most of the time you're punished for it. I was. 2007, life began again, and in 2009 I set my business up, which has gone from strength to strength. I'm in the same business as Clem, and what more can I say?
No, that's fine. And your connection with the previous owner, obviously, you were an associate, and through that association, of course, Clem became involved.
Would you like me to? So, for just for clarity, so in about 2010, say, I got introduced to Lee Power. I got introduced to Lee Power as this super successful businessman, with a silver tongue, and he was Mr. Successful. He liked the horses, which I like as well. Oh God, my ear.
No, that's all right. Don't worry.
Just falling out. Sorry.
Earphones come out. No worries.
And we got introduced through a mutual friend, who, funnily enough, is still a friend. He's one of the reason I say that is one of the few mutual friends that we've got that Mr. Power hasn't tried to turn against me, but that's not a bad thing, because at least I know who my friends are now. And I started following Swindon as soon as he took over. You're probably aware that he made me a non-exec in about, I don't even know what it was, 2013, 2014, was it?
14, I think it was.
Was it 14? And I slowly, I suppose, if truth be known, not always, but I became more and more suspicious about things that were happening, and finally it came to a head in 2019, where I questioned him, and that's when all hell broke loose. I made Clem aware of things that were happening. At the end of the day, Clem had put a significant amount of money into the club, purely because I said that the man he was dealing with was 100%, he was a proper guy, stand up, honourable, decent guy. So I had no option other than to stand with Clem and get what was rightfully his. That has come at a cost, which is another thing I can't go into, but I'm sure you guys can do the maths. We had 2 years of unnecessary court battles, which cost Clem a fortune. I don't know the exact amount, but it was several £100,000. Lee was in, there were several things that I find hard to stomach, but Lee was still talking on the radio up until literally a month before Clem took over about how he was the 100% owner of the club. Everything else was nonsense. Yet I remember clearly about 4 years ago, Clem being on the pitch and being in the Swindon Advertiser with a scarf above his head, saying that he just bought into the club. But anyway, look, here we are today, and I think, you know, I would be surprised if there was a better run club in the country than ours now. And I'm biased, obviously, but the amount of work these guys are putting in, and the team, you've got to remember, there's guys there at the club who weren't getting paid, were still doing everything, were going and buying. I mean, there's guys there that were going and buying the academy kids their lunches out of their own money, yet they weren't getting paid their salary at the end of a month. The amount of people that are owed money is unbelievable. How nobody folded the club beforehand. I know we had injunctions against Lee Power doing that, putting the club into admin, but still, by the letter of the law, admin, if the number one thing a judge has to think of is the creditors. And if at any point he would have seen that the creditors were going to lose their money, he could have whipped the injunction away, which he didn't. And thankfully, we got where we got today.
Well, Zav, thank you very much, Steve, for being so honest. And I think that's clear many of the issues that people want to know. And one of the great things that the club has promised is transparency. And I'm grateful for you to come on and say the things that you've said. Clem, where are we at with this then? You obviously have 100% trust in Zav to be your vice chairman if and when that happens.
Yep.
What is it about Zav that you find worth keeping in with, if you see what I mean?
Well, Zav brought me to the club, first off. Second, if it wasn't for Zav, we would never have a club, because Zav brought me there. And he told me what was going on, and he's given me the trust and the loyalty in the last 2 years through these court cases that we've had, which has been, like, I've had many sleepless nights going through it with Zav and my lawyers going through what was going on, and it was up and down emotions constantly. So I believe that Zav's got the business acumen. He might have done something 20 years ago, but I'm sure people have done stupid things in their lives. I'm not saying that which might have been stupid, but I can't hold that against him. He's been loyal to me, and I've been loyal to him at the end of the day. Simple as that. He's got the ability, he's got business acumen, and he can help. Me being on the other side of the world is going to be a lot harder, as you know, because of the time zones. And Zav can help Rob in running the club and having that transfer. Obviously, I'm going to be involved in it constantly anyway, because Rob knows that. But it's just another set of eyes and ears that he can help us in the business side. And he's from England. I'm not from England. So he knows the environment a lot better than I do. And that's why I want Zav on board.
Okay. And how will it work, Clem? Zav and Rob will run the club, but obviously keeping in touch with you on the other side.
I'll be involved. Don't look. I've been dealing with Rob for the last 3 or 4 years, and I talk to him nearly every day. And look, it's no different to the way I run my businesses around the world. But I just need another set of eyes and ears and I trust Rob immensely, and I trust the staff. But I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page and we're running the club the way we want to run it, and Zav's going to be that part of it.
Okay. Well, the questions are coming in, as you can imagine. This from Pete. Does Zav expect to be as visible as Clem has been? Will he sit on the advisory board, for instance? So, well, I mean, obviously, Clem.
The advisory board.
Yeah. Okay.
We've got an advisory board tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. So that'll be our first advisory board with Zav, Rob, Steve Martin from the Supporters Trust.
Eddie.
Anthony Rees.
Eddie
Rees. Eddie.
Jack,
and Don Rogers. So they're all on the advisory board. That'll be our first advisory board meeting. and just start going through the process. We've done a forum and a set out for the meeting, so it'll probably go on for about four hours. So we're just going through that now. The first one might be a bit scratchy because it's the first time we've had one, but yes, everyone will be on board. So if there's an issue regarding the club or they've got problems, then they can bring it to that advisory board through the supporter groups.
Okay, fine. This from Alex. Clem, you hero. It simply says that, really.
Listen, I'm not the hero. Everybody here, let me stop. Everyone from the supporters to Rob to Zav to the media, everyone is a hero. I've come in here, but I don't want to always just focus on me. We just got to focus on, at the end of the day, like I said to a meeting just before, no one's bigger than the club. Swindon Town's football club is what's important, not me, not anybody. So I appreciate it and thank you, but I'd rather them concentrate on the club. The club's the most important thing for us.
Okay. This from Martin. Is Zav putting any cash into the club? Are you investing, Zav?
No.
Okay.
Wish I had the money to.
Yeah, well, fair enough. That answers that pretty much straight away. Right.
What I would say, Vic,
right. Go on, Rob.
Zav has put a lot of resources in to help us get ready for the stadium. So through Zav's businesses, he's put a lot of resources to help us get ready to help make the place, a better stadium and a better environment. So thank you, Zav, for doing that.
Okay. We've got lots of logistical questions coming in as well. Now, let's talk about the Don Rogers stand, Rob, because I know you're keen to talk about that and safe standing in that particular area of the ground. Well, standing in that particular part of the ground. This is from Kevin. Is it possible to use the Stratton Bank for standing? Now, if you're an away fan, you know that if you are sitting in your designated seat, some people stand in front of you. They like standing at football matches. I'm too old now to stand at football matches, so I don't. But this is a bone of contention for many people. The Don Rogers, I know there is a group of people who stand at the front. There have been problems with the disabled enclosure. What would you like to say about that?
Well, look, yeah, we've got, and I'm learning this stuff as we go. So we have regular meetings with the Swindon Borough Council and the Stadium Advisory Group, the Stadium Safety Authority for stadiums in England. And they are very concerned about the persistent standing in the Don Rogers. Partly, there's a number of reasons to that. One is that the gradient of the steps in the Don Rogers is above a certain degree that makes it quite dangerous for standing and could cause issues. And obviously, given what happened with Hillsborough, no one wants to see that, and everyone's quite nervous in respect to that respect. The gradient in, I suspect, the Stratton Bank, but I know in the town end is less steep, and therefore, whilst they still have issues of persistent standing, they're not as big as the issues that we have in the Don Rogers. Equally, obviously, we've had some instances where damage has been done to the disabled supporters enclosure, quite bad damage, which again costs money to fix and time to fix, which needs to make sure that doesn't happen again, because we will have to take action to damage against our stadium as we would do if there's damage to others people's stadium. And if we don't resolve the persistent standing in the Don Rogers, we've had a warning from the council and the stadium safety authorities that they would seek to restrict capacity in the Don Rogers Stadium, which is what the club can't afford. That no one wants that. So we do need to address and stop the persistent standing that's happening in the Don Rogers Stadium. And it is a family stadium. It is the whole ground is all seated these days. But the gradient and the steepness, even at the front, is the issue that the stadium safety authorities bring up with us. So we do need to sort of bring an end as best we can to the persistent standing in the Don Rogers stand. As you get excited and you see some areas and you want to celebrate a goal, you can obviously stand up, you can jump for joy, as I've done many times in every part of this stadium. But persistent standing is causing us an issue in the Don Rogers, and we need to try and reduce it and manage that so it doesn't happen, as well as damage to the disabled supporters enclosure, which is unacceptable. In terms of looking at the Stratton Bank, We are having discussions with the Supporters Trust actually about what we could do in the Stratton Bank, and could we get that open for more games, help with getting, bringing more casual fans in and getting more in. So there's conversations going on there, albeit that there is work needed to get the Stratton Bank in a better state. So that the toilets are a mess. Luckily, I've got a plumber here, on that side, I should say. So he should be able to help us and get a decent quote and know what we're doing, because I wouldn't know how to sort out the toilets in the Stratton Bank, but he knows what to do.
I know how to do it.
So we need to look at that. So it's not going to be a short-term thing, but something we've been discussing with the Supporters Trust. And look, we will look at other options. I'm keen to look at safe standing and rails seating, which means that the authorities are a little bit, shall we say, more relaxed on persistent standing. But that's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of money. So there are things that we will look at, but it's not going to happen immediately. What we do need to address is the persistent standing in the Don Rogers, because if we don't, then the stadium safety authorities and the council will reduce their capacity in the Don Rogers Stadium, which I don't think anybody wants.
Okay, this is from Jonathan. What anti-COVID measures is the club taking? Any plans to open the bank as a safe zone? Well, you've just answered that bit. One or two observations have been made to me that in a lot of the toilets, as you mentioned those, there is no hand sanitizer. And there are no paper towels and stuff and things like that. I know this is the nitty gritty, but it is the nitty gritty. And, this matters to a lot of people, particularly at the minute. So what steps are you taking regarding that?
Well, it's the first time actually I've had the feedback around the hand sanitizers and the paper towels, so we can immediately look into that and review it, try and get some hand sanitizers in and around those toilet areas. Obviously, we know that's an important help to prevent COVID. And we'll definitely look at the paper towel issue. And I haven't sat in the town end this year, but I know from my previous steps there have always been enough paper towels. So I don't know why that is. Maybe towards the end of the game when everyone's piled through, there'll be issues. But we'll look at that, and we'll look to address the paper towels and the hand sanitizers.
Yeah, the articles as well. It seems to be a problem. So. This is from Mark. Just want to highlight what an amazing job you're all doing. The team's superb, and we can see the efforts that have been put into recruitment. My question is, with the good feeling that's around, let's get the next generation of town fans in through the turnstiles. Why not give schools free tickets that will generate shirt sales, food sales, etc.? Zav, I was going to say.
Yes, so we're working with the Supporters Trust, the Community Foundation, Supporters Club. We're also looking to work with the North Wilts, Youth League as well, and we'd be happy to work with some of the similar leagues in Oxfordshire, in Gloucestershire, in Berkshire, across Wiltshire. So we've got a plan working very close to Supporters Trust and the Community Foundation to give more tickets away to children, to schools, to local football teams, to try and encourage and build. Hopefully, they come to a game and ask their parents to take them, and they get the bug, and a number stay and become town fans, just as I did, 40 odd years ago.
Yeah. Where are we? This is from Kay, an observation. I was at Stevenage and got hit on the head by an advertising board, left disgusted and embarrassed by certain fans. From Roberto, great having you in the UK, Clem. How long are you sticking around for? It's great having a visible owner. I think it's the middle of September. Is that right?
I'm leaving next Monday.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I was trying to get a later flight, but the latest flight I could get is the 2nd of December, which I can't do. So I'm leaving next Monday. Not that I really want to.
But when you finally coming back?
I'm trying to get back. I want to get back before Christmas, or in January. Hopefully, if they should let me anyway. I'll put an application in. I think they're going to open up the borders in November.
But where do you stand with that, Clem, in terms of going back? I mean, do you have to quarantine, all that kind of stuff? How does that work?
I've got to quarantine for 2 weeks in a hotel room, locked up, so I can't get out at all. So how
are you going to deal with that? Are you going to deal with that well or not?
Got to deal with it, not well, because I got probably AD. I got probably some ADHD, so I'll probably have a problem.
Probably on the phone to me all the time.
I'll be on the phone constantly, but I'm on the phone anyway, so it won't matter. But I like to exercise, so that's going to be a problem for me being in a hotel room.
This from Carol. A kid trying to rip out a seat in front of me can't have been any more than 14. From Joe, there can't be any justification for even considering a GoFundMe from the OSC or trust to cover a fine. From Michael, with regards to the flare, surely Stevenage should be fined for not doing their job properly and searching people. And that is a very good point. We were all searched when we went in. I'm not terribly sure how you get a pyrotechnic in when you've been searched. I know that's a serious question. I'd like to know the answer because we were all searched.
We've been discussing it earlier, Vic, actually, because it's something that we need to learn. You know, the stuff we saw on Saturday that didn't quite right, we want to learn from ourselves and make sure the stewarding at the county ground is spot on. So I've actually been speaking to one of the guys who runs the stewarding for us and does a really good job, and we were talking about that. And believe it or not, one of the ways that they've spotted that people do it is they pass it to children to take in. And that's how, you know, it's got into the county ground in the past. Now, I'm not saying that happened on Saturday or not, but we are trying to learn, you know, from what we see at other grounds and make improvements to make sure the county ground is as safe as we can be. And as we said earlier, we'll be providing the feedback on the stewarding back to my opposite number, Stevenage, who has, you know, been very, very open in discussing and dealing with these issues.
Okay, I've got a question here from Jeremy, and anybody can answer this if they can give me a definitive answer. How much money do we still owe people? And if it's found that a previous owner has broken the law, will we seek a prosecution? Well, obviously, there are things going through the court, so there's little you can say on that. But in terms of the money we owe people, anybody give me an answer on that?
We're still, you know, they're still dealing with, you know, significant historic debts, you know, so I think when we, you know, and again, things are still coming out of the closet, shall we say? But we're talking still in the region of £4 million. You know, Clem's come in and, you know, and immediately put nearly £1 million in to stabilise things, to make sure people are paid. We start making credit repayments to, you know, the council, to HMRC, to the EFL, etc. But it's still, you know, a significant debt that we've got to work through, and we'll have to work through quite a period of time, which is why, you know, the support for season tickets, support for match day, the support that people have bought in, you know, we pretty much sold out the home shirts, is so important, as well as the waiving of refunds and credits that the far majority of supporters does is massively helpful, because Clem can't do it all on his own. Us Swindon Town supporters, and, you know, we need to back him at the same time by buying season tickets, by buying match day tickets, buying shirts and other merchandise, and where we can by waiving refunds and credits, because it's still a big, you know, a big mountain of debts for us to work through and to repay.
Yeah, I've got a question on that from Wendy. Just bear with me. I'm scrolling down as we go. Oh, yeah. Clem, you bought Swindon for £220,000 / whichever. Where is the other 3.3 million you said you would invest? Why have you not paid off the EFL? Do you want to answer those questions?
We're looking at the EFL embargo, but we're looking at this embargo is only a 12-month embargo, and we're at the moment we're coming fourth in the lead, so we're looking at it's a better way of investing that money. It's not, there's no interest on that EFL embargo, so we're looking at it and go, well, is it worth paying it off? We've already paid $175,000 already off the $1,040,000, I think it was, taken out. So we're just looking at it. We're going to probably keep reviewing it, but there's no point putting that money in there if we don't need to. If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. No, it does make sense. Absolutely. Right. From Rachel, having Rob Angus, a lifelong fan, as our CEO, is such a fab appointment to restore faith in the running of the club. We'll get to the Don Rogers PA in a moment, because there are one or two problems. I mean, Zav, you know, what is your take on all this? Because, you know, it seems to me, you know, 6 weeks ago, you know, Clem shipped up at Supermarine, and there we were, you know, going to Supermarine thinking, well, is this the last time we see Swindon play? Clem turns up, suddenly there's a new dawn. What's your take on all this?
It's been a roller coaster, as I say. 25 months of legal battles, 25 months of listening to absolute rubbish coming from the other side. As Clem highlighted earlier, you know, we've had many sleepless nights, many highs and lows, and Clem would tell you himself. There were times when you got to bear in mind that Clem obviously has a family living on the other side of the world that are seeing what's going on, and any wife, I would imagine, would question, is this worth it, Clem? But he's not. He's a winner. You've only got to look at his businesses to see he's an absolute born winner. And I was saying, look, we'll win this. Trust me, we'll win this. If it's the last thing I've dedicated the last 2 years. I mean, I'm fortunate in a way that my business runs itself to a point, but there hasn't been a day, not one day, when we haven't been going through every different scenario that could possibly happen. So when the actual day came that we knew we'd won, it was like I can't express the feeling. It was unbelievable. I always knew we'd win. I knew it was a battle we couldn't lose, because there's a saying, right is might, and if you're wrong, you can't be strong. And I always knew that we were telling the truth. And thankfully, the 3 judges that heard the case, because through adjournments and whatnot, and judges being on holiday and sitting on different cases, we had to have different judges hearing us. You think so. You tell your basic skeleton argument to one judge, and he favours in your side. So you think, great. And then you think, right, when's the next case? And you see a different judge, and you never know. You never know. You think, are we going to be unlucky today? But at the end of the day, good old British justice system came up trumps. We won. We're here. At some point, we'll get time to reflect on it. I don't know when, because at the moment it's just not so much for me, but especially for the that funny looking couple on the couch there. They're just non-stop. They're there at the crack of dawn, and they're there at I'll give you an idea. The night before we played Peterborough, was it Peterborough? We had painters painting the Arkle at off of at 3 o'clock in the morning. And Clem will be sending emails at all stupid hours, and so will Rob. So the truth of the matter is, how do we feel? How do I feel? Well, I'm happy we've won, that's for sure. And I think every single Swindon Town fan should feel happy we've won, because when you're dealing with someone like we were dealing with, there's no rhyme or reason. There's no everything was delusional. So there's some people in life that believe their own lies, and I think that it's fair to say we were dealing with one. But we probably, hopefully, at some point, maybe Christmas time, we'll get down to, have a meal and go through it all and reminisce, as it were. And because I tell you, there've been some really dark moments, stupidly dark. And you can imagine, from where I'm sitting, one person had put a fortune in on my say-so, and he wasn't getting what was rightfully his. I'm thinking, I don't believe this. And to be fair to Clem, not once, put it like this, if the shoe was on the other foot, I'd have been saying, Clem, you told me that bloke was 1,000,000,000% on the ball. He's ratted on me. You're out of order. You've got to get this. He's never once said that. Never once said it. And we're not talking about 100 quid. We're talking about a lot of money, a total investment of nearly 2 million quid into the club at the time. And he was super calm about it. And my fear was that Clem would go, do you know what? I'm going to walk away. And he could easily have done so. but he didn't. Behind the scenes, we were putting things together in the hope that this we always knew this could happen very quickly, and it did. And as I noted in Ben Garner's interview in the Advertiser at the weekend, when kind of asked for his assessment of everything, 6 weeks ago, we nearly didn't have a club. We've put a fantastic team together, a young, attacking team. I don't know how, big credit to Ben Chorley, who's worked tirelessly with Ben Garner and the two Scots to get this team. You watch them every week. It's not like we're lucky to be fourth. It's easier to argue we're unlucky to be fourth, really. How we didn't beat, was it Carlisle at home? We lost 2-1.
First game of the season, yeah. First home game of the season.
I haven't got a clue how we lost that game, but we did. But I think everything is, you're pinching yourself, because we got a super intelligent manager and a really nice bloke, by the way. We've got two coaches. Obviously, you must know. I presume you know Scott Lindsay. Do you?
No, I don't know either. They're all new, so really.
Scott was here under Coops many years ago, and then he followed into Forest Green. But top guy. Scott Marshall obviously has come in, and they're just, everyone down to the kitmen. The two boys are fantastic. Everyone is just, there isn't one bad egg in the building, and it's just. I'll give you one quick story. So I turned up at the club about I think it was on the first day, and very emotional day. Coming back into the ground, and there was a fella outside cleaning the windows. So I said, "Morning," and he said, "Morning, Zav." And I thought, "Oh, blimey, whoops, my thing's falling out again. I don't know this guy." So I said, "Oh, hi, how are you?" I said, "Are you the club looking after you?" He said, "Oh, no." He said, "I've been a fan for 50-something years." He said, "I walk past every day." He said, "I noticed the windows were dirty, so I thought I'd clean them. I don't want any money." So I went in and I said to Rob, "Do you know about this?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "We've got to do something for him. Surely you can't have people, everyone goes to work, they need to get paid." But that just goes to show the kind of people that you've got there that are prepared to do so much for the club at their own cost. And, just brilliant. It's just, as I say, we're riding on the crest of a wave, and long may it last.
Definitely. Lots of questions to get through then, if you don't mind. And I want to go to this one, Rob. What's happening in the club shop? Went in there on Thursday, this is from Glyn, because the other half wanted a Swindon top, not a playing shirt, and there wasn't hardly anything in there. Please, could you ask about any more merchandise coming in? I appreciate, it's been like, yesterday that you took over, but, when will new merchandise arrive?
So we've got an issue with the home kit. The home kit has been incredibly popular, and thank you everybody who's bought it. But because it's a bespoke kit, and because of production issues that Puma have got, the earliest we can get any more of it is basically next April or May, when you're looking at the next year's kit. So we're not going to be able to get in more of the home kit. We've tried everything that we can. We've gone to the top of Puma, but it's just not doable. We still got the away kit. We've got the training wear. We're making sure we're restocking the shop, because stuff has been very popular, which is fantastic. And we are looking at other options as well, to make sure there's more merchandise that we can get in the shop.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, right. Okay. This is from Robert.
Can I butt in? Sorry. My wife sat on the remote control and the TV just went on, so I had to get up for a second. Did you mention the new kit that's coming? I didn't catch that.
No, I hinted at it, Zav.
Oh, sorry, Rob.
That's all right, mate.
Do you want to slap the wrist now?
No.
Are you talking about a third shirt? Is this what we're talking about? And when is that going to happen?
It will happen. We think it should be available in the next couple of months.
And what colour will it be?
We'll wait and see.
Oh, come on! What colour will it be? Have you designed? You've designed it already, haven't you?
We have, yeah.
Yeah.
You'll get it.
Okay. There will be a third shirt.
Rob was a politician in a previous life.
Yeah, let's hope it's not for an FA Cup tie at Cheltenham. People who remember that purple kit. That was it. Yeah. This is from Robert. Considering what happened on Saturday, we have a local derby coming up soon. Would it be better to lower our allocation for that game? Obviously, would that hit the club financially, wouldn't it? If you were to do that?
I mean, in terms of, I think it's an away game, isn't it? To Bristol Rovers. It wouldn't hit the club that we get 5% of away ticket sales if we sell them ourselves through the club. It's like a arranging fee. So it wouldn't hurt it massively. But I would want as many Swindon fans to enjoy going to Bristol Rovers as possible, to safely support the team, support the lads on the pitch, and to safely watch Swindon Town win at a Memorial Ground and take all 3 points. That's what I want to do. But it's all about people, behaving as they should do, and a minority not ruin it for the majority.
This is from Steve. The antics of a minority of our supporters on Saturday has left me angry and bitterly disappointed with what I witnessed on TV. The time has come for stern action on these yobs who are shaming the good name of Swindon Town. The FA must be rubbing their hands again. Another payday from our club. I would urge any fan who knows these people, or better still, with pictures, to come forward and help get rid of them for good. I apologise to Clem and Rob on behalf of all true supporters. I hope something gets done, and soon. Oh, and by the way, the stewards on duty Saturday were a disgrace, and Stevenage need to know that they're ill prepared to engage with fans, and at times just seem to want to confront as much as possible. Also, no police presence at all. Surely there should have been some on duty. Steve, thank you very much indeed for that. We have got loads of questions. You're right to hang on for another 5-10 minutes. Is that okay? I mean,
yeah.
I appreciate you're busy. Just a quickie. This from when will the Sky Sports piece being aired following Clem around? When's that going to go out? Do you know?
I think in the next 2 or 3 weeks. I think. I
think that's what Chris Holt said.
Chris was saying.
Okay. From Chris, will you be getting any goalkeeping shirts in again?
Yes, we can get new goalkeeping shirts in. So they are. I think we're trying to assess the demand, and then we'll reorder them back in.
And what colour is the third shirt? I just thought I'd throw that one in just to see if I can catch it.
It's right.
I'll try again later, see what happens. This is from Carl. Brilliant that you guys are putting yourself in front of the public, fans and foes alike. Keep doing what you're doing. Transparency is key. From Dan, would Clem lend his building knowledge and experience to help our less fortunate neighbours build a fourth stand? I think we all know to whom that refers.
No, he's not going to do that.
No.
Wait. Up the road.
Along the A420. Yeah.
I've never been there, to tell you the truth.
You don't want to.
I've never been. I'll probably get mugged up there.
Not a great experience. Let's put it like this. This is from Pete. We are sending an email to Danny Lee and Jordan Higgins at 10:45 on Friday night, and we're getting replies right away. Not sure people are aware of the work putting on. From Pete, Zav, can you turn the light on? Well, you've already done that, so that's fine. From Lee, Clem moved the family argument to Swindon. They'll be treated like royalty. Well done all. How would that go down with the family if you said to them, by the way, we're moving? No.
I don't think so. I think they think I'm nuts already buying a club. So, no, I think they're quite happy in Australia at the moment.
Yeah, fair enough. From Mickey, I'd like to personally thank you for the amazing job everyone's done in a short space of time. From Mark, will the home shirts be restocked? Well, you've asked that one. From Alan, will the embargo be lifted in time for the January transfer window? You've basically answered that.
We're going to work it out. See where we are in the position in the table, and then we'll make a decision. Then we won't. There's no point handing money over if we don't need, because we've got a lot of things flying at us at the moment. Every time we unravel something, we keep finding bodies around. So we're trying to sort them out at the moment. So there's no point just paying £1 million. We've already paid 175. So
this is from Rob. Any update when the PA system issues in the Don Rogers will be resolved? Obviously, we had the roll of honour the other week, Rob. It didn't work the first game, and I think there were problems with the second time we tried to do it as well. How is that? What's happening with the PA at the minute?
So basically, it comes down to years of neglect and lack of investment in the stadium, and it's showing. So basically, the boxes or the switch boxes at the top of the stand that drive the power down to the speakers are basically all corroded. Now we managed to sort of get it going for one of the games by having someone at the back and trying to monitor it and make sure it sort of worked, but and we tested it ahead of the game against Mansfield, and it was working. But when we put a backup in, but obviously it wasn't then working, and the backup failed as well because it couldn't take the sort of the volume of spectators there. So we've had people out there assessing it back end of this week, and early this week we believe we've identified the issues. We're now getting ahead and looking to make sure it's fixed and sorted ahead of the game on Saturday. So that's a priority for us. But it comes down to, and we've had a number of issues to work through, a long period of lack of investment, lack of love and care for the county ground, if I'm honest, and we're now sort of working those through. So it's a priority, and we expecting it to be fixed, ready for Saturday.
Okay. This is from Kevin. Is there a possibility of the £10 nationwide tickets to return? Are you still working for them, Rob? Are you still there at the minute? Or the last time we spoke to you, you were doing 2 jobs. So
that is still the case. Though I'm probably doing quite a lot more for Swindon Town than Nationwide, although Nationwide is still paying me. We are in good conversations with Nationwide, and we expect a positive resolution to come through soon.
So you are thinking of coming up with a similar deal, is that right? Is that what you just said? Yeah. Right. Okay, fine. So I was just reading other comments, trying to get through as many as I possibly can. Oh, goodness me, there's so many of them. By the way, Neil says you pour a good Guinness, Clem, as opposed to comments earlier about you not being able to pull a good pint. So there we are. Lots of them. And I think I'm trying to get through as many as possible. What's the latest with the purchase of the county ground? This was obviously the trust are involved with this, and then it got stalled because of what's going on. Zav, do you know anything about that? Obviously, you've got a former trust member of their board as CEO. What's happening with the ground?
I'm going to very, very, as a great politician would do, I'm going to pass this one over to Rob, if that's okay.
Thanks, Sav. Yeah. Look, we're in conversation. Actually, Clem and I met with Susie Kemp, the CEO of Swindon Borough Council, earlier today. So we're in positive conversations with the council about the ground acquisition. Positive conversations with the trust as well. So we're looking to get things back on track. We do need to deal with the back rent and the interest payments on that, and the costs in relation to that as well before we do that. But we are in positive discussions with Susie and the council in terms of getting the county ground purchase back on. Very much the trust are on board or on side for reigniting the 50-50 joint venture to deal with that. So we're trying to move that forward, working closely with the trust and the council right now.
Okay. And from Daniel, what ways are you looking into outside of matchday revenue to generate more income for the club? I guess it's always difficult if you don't own the ground, isn't it? That being able to use it for other activities. Are you somewhat limited? How does that work?
We are a bit big, part of that is it does need other parts of ground need quite a bit of investment, but we are looking to leverage and utilise what we have got in the Arkle stand. Obviously, we've got the areas that are the sponsor suites on a match day. We've got the Legends Bar. We've got various other rooms, and we are looking to make it known that catering facilities at the county ground are available for for parties, Christmas parties, for conferences, for weddings, whatever. Because we're keen, as you say, to generate the revenue outside of the match day. It helps the club. It helps, deal with investing in infrastructure, both on and off the pitch. So really keen to drive that now. Now we're obviously back up and running. We've, the place is getting invested in now. We're improving the facilities that we've got here. So we are keen to do that. So if you have got parties that you're considering, or Christmas parties, etc., do give us a shout, because we'd love to have you down here.
Okay, lovely. Well, I think we're going to let you go in a minute, because we've held on to you long enough. Thank you very much indeed for answering all the questions. How often are you going to get back, Clem? Because, I mean, it's not like nipping down the road, is it? So, you've got to go into quarantine for 2 weeks. So I guess you're not coming back within that 2 weeks. So when are we looking at, do you think?
Well, hopefully I can come in before Christmas, or just in January. So for the transfer window period.
Fair enough. Okay. Zav, thank you very much indeed for being open and honest. Many of the questions were answered by that, and I think people appreciate that. So thank you very much indeed for that.
Thanks, Vic. Nice to meet you.
And you, and hopefully we'll do this again before too much longer. And Rob, thank you as always. Always a great pleasure to hear what you've got to say as a dyed-in-the-wool town fan. And the colour of the third kit is what?
Wait and see.
Vic, what colour do you want it to be?
Well, oh gosh, that's a really good question. Yeah, that's a very. I quite like white kits. So if you want to bear that in mind, white with a bit of red in it, there's nothing wrong with that. That's down in the bin, is it? Oh well, never mind. And also, Zav, somebody has sent in a message regarding your shorts on their brief appearance just now. Is that a clue for the third kit?
Sorry about that one.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed, all of you. Really appreciate the time, because, somebody I said you must be exhausted, Clem. So I really appreciate your time for coming on. You're only running about 15 businesses at once. Why would you be tired? Goodness me. Thank you very much indeed, all of you. Pete, thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, great.
I just wanted to say, got a message here from Dean. Could we give a mention to the Loathe Stranger podcast, of course, which many people enjoy? And there is, if you'd like to go on to patreon.com and find out more details regarding getting involved with the Loathe Strangers podcast. And don't forget, the SAS travel office is open before tomorrow night's game against Arsenal, which kicks off at 7. Don't forget, it's a 7 o'clock kickoff tomorrow night. And that would be for away games at Northampton and Bristol Rovers, I'm guessing. But if you want to get in touch with the SAS, you can do at SAS_travel on Twitter, or you could email sastravel@sky.com, and they'll be happy to take your bookings. So there you are, Pete. I think that's all my housekeeping.
And we'll be back next Monday, Vic, with a Monday night panel, as usual.
We will. Yes.
Great. Well, thank you very much, everybody. So I think we'll finish here, and we'll speak to you next Monday.
Thank you.
Cheers, Vic.
Thank you. Cheers.
God bless. Bye-bye.